I'm pregnant, and my baby daddy wants to go back to his wife. They are trying to make it a surrogate situation and take the kid from me. I, 29. Female, dated a guy Joe 30M for 3 months before he left me to go back to his ex Kim 30 female. So right after we broke up, I found out I was pregnant and now I'm at 24 weeks. I let him know and he was ecstatic. Turns out his girlfriend had fertility issues and would likely never be able to get pregnant naturally, and he has always wanted to be a father. Getting back together was out of the question for both of us, so he's still with his girlfriend. Joe was only allowed at the initial appointment because of COVID-19, and we found out I was having twins. According to Joe, when he told Kim she had a mental breakdown about her infertility and wanted to talk to me. I met them at their house, and Kim stated that she wanted to be involved in my pregnancy because she would eventually be the children's stepmother. She started telling me that I needed to do a home birth, that I needed to formula feed so that they could have the babies half of the week, that she wanted one boy and one girl, and that she wanted the kid to call her mama since they would be calling me mommy. I shut her down and said I would make the best choices for my children and my body, and left. Kim continued to be overbearing and texting me every day about my eating habits, exercise habits, and bitching about how her job wouldn't let her take maternity leave. At the virtual genetics counseling appointment, she attended instead of Joe and took over the whole meeting trying to talk about her family history, which wasn't relevant. When it came time for my 20-week level 2 scan, they allowed me one guest, and Joe suggested I take Kim instead of him, which I refused to do. Joe did end up coming, and he found out the gender because I wanted to keep it a surprise for me, so we could throw a gender reveal party. I put a pregnancy announcement on my social media, and then she put up an announcement saying they were expecting twins the non-traditional way, and how blessed she was. I was irritated, but I kept my mouth shut. Then she threw a gender reveal party and posted it on social media. I wasn't even invited. She also announced that she's having a baby shower. I commented on her posts and told her to stop treating me like a surrogate, that the kids weren't hers, and that Joe didn't have any claim or custody of the kids until they are born. I then called Joe and reiterated all of this and stated that I would not be seeing either of them until we went to family court and that my mother would be my birthing partner. He and Kim and some of her friends and family are saying I'm an asshole, and her mother even called and insisted I give her one of my babies like this is the Parent Trap. So Aita? Edit. I'm definitely getting a lawyer ASAP. Y'all have scared the shit out of me, but I'm happy you did. Update. I never considered that this could have happened on purpose. We use condoms because I do not react well to hormonal birth control, and I had to wait to get a non-hormonal IUD because of other medical issues. The Thursday I posted this, I went to the police and they stated that there was nothing they could do because a crime hadn't been committed. In my state orders of protection are criminal or family, so I was able to get one against Joe. On Friday, I did get a lawyer, and they let me know in my state there was nothing I could do as far as custody before the babies are born, so I will be leaving my state soon to ensure that this isn't my baby's home state and I can't be charged with anything. However, someone sent this post to Kim, and she came to my job, damaged my car, and broke a bunch of office windows. I work with kids, so she was arrested for not just the criminal damage and trespassing, but also child endangerment, so hopefully that works in my favor. Also, if Joe did it on purpose, I don't think Kim knew, because she was screaming at me about how I stole her life, and everything I had was supposed to be hers. New small update. Update. I have orders of protection against both Kim and Joe. I left the state anyway, and Joe and Kim started harassing me again because there's no legal jurisdiction when you leave the state. But I have enough evidence that I was able to press charges in my current state as well, and will be pursuing a restraining order here. Story 2. I found out why my husband's parents got divorced and can't tell him because it includes his dad's secret fetish. My mother-in-law is here for a visit, and while my 32F husband, 32Me, was running an errand, I asked her why she and his dad divorced. They bought a house right before the recession, and I always chalked it up to the stress of that tore them apart, but what she told me was actually insane. This is a long one. She goes, well, it was a lot of things and secrets that were kept from me, including the weird fetishes. I jokingly replied, oh, ahaha, you mean butt stuff? She said, well, that and the women's clothing. She goes on to tell me this story. The night before their wedding, they were getting intimate. She reached down and felt lacy women's underwear. She was shocked and asked WTF was going on because she thought it was a joke. They had been together a while and this had never happened before. He just replied that he thought it might turn her on, and that was it. Flash forward to my husband in grade school working on a school project. He needed to print stuff, and my MIL took out the family laptop. When she opened it, she found pictures of naked women sprawled out on hotel beds. When FIL got home, She questioned him about it, and he said it was just a joke. He had gone to a conference, and his buddies and him did it as a joke. She obviously didn't believe him, but they had just poured their life savings into this house. Not too long after that, she was cleaning their bedroom closest when she found a box that she didn't recognize. In that box was pictures of FIL in women's clothing, including some pictures of him in her clothes. She confronted him about it, and he said it would never happen again. Come to find out that my SEL and BL stumbled upon him in women's clothing in their backyard one morning and said, "We don't have to tell Mommy about this, right?" And they didn't, until they were teenagers. Throughout this time period, she would see him at the Kroger out by the dumpsters throwing things away. Additionally, he had a burner phone. She never went dumpster diving, but when she tried to talk to him about it, things would get violent. This escalated to him leaving the house for prolonged time periods, including overnights. She had to tell him multiple times that she didn't care what he did, but he couldn't just walk out of his kids' lives. Her friend and her husband were close with them, and the husband and FIL got together one day so he could talk to him in private. He told him, "I just don't want responsibility anymore." Upset and needing a distraction, my MIL took her and the kids on a trip to California with family. When she got home, all the trash had been taken out, except for a single piece of paper with a schedule on it. A day plan for what she assumed was a date. They had a joint bank account, so she checked it. It was completely empty. He had been using their joint debt card to take women on dates. Once she found this out, she demanded that he give her the debit card and get his own bank account. When he refused, she took the family laptop and he flipped out. Fearing this, she ran into the neighbor's house with the kids and the phone. Not long after this, they got a divorce. He didn't want hardly any custody of the kids, and she had to convince him to at least do a weekend once a month. He later remarried, and exactly 5 years later got a divorce. A similar cheating situation. She found him sending emails about how he didn't want to go home to his then-wife. Now he's about to marry someone younger than my husband and I's age, meaning I've dated men older than her. FIL has recently become very demanding of my husband in regards to the wedding. A destination wedding that is around a 3-day trip driving. He demands that we go to with our 12-year-old son and pay our own way to. His current finance has a superiority complex over us, despite being younger than our age. Theirs is a disturbing amount of PDA, and I think she contributes to the aggression that he recently had been showing with my husband. We're at the point where family, including MIL, is calling and texting us about how heartbroken FIL will be if his son isn't at the wedding. Trying to guilt us into it even though my husband doesn't want to go and we frankly can't afford it as I was just laid off and we have a mortgage. This is his 4th wedding. He insists we stay in the after-party house with our child and strangers, but I can't even trust him. No one is concerned that he might have more kids in his old age. No one is concerned about the trauma my husband was put through, and no one sees the correlation to maybe why he doesn't want to go to the wedding. I'm not sure if his fiancée is aware of the cross-dressing. I don't think it's my place to tell my husband any of this, but I feel like he should maybe know why I don't ever want our son spending the night around him. It's not just the women's clothing, but the secrets that he kept and the fact that we aren't sure if there is more that he's hiding.